I've been going on dates in the Philippines for almost 5 years now. When you go on dates in the West, you don't really have to think about the situation. You're just going on dates with a female. So when I was young, I was a big fan of... Hello, how you doing?
Good morning.
I was a big fan of Elton John. Well, I was young. His album, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, came out in 1975. Now, the opening track on side 2 was a song called Meal Ticket. Now, I didn't really know the meaning of the song at the time because I was too young to think that it had a meaning. Hey! This, every time I go on dates in the Philippines, the song Meal Ticket comes to mind. Hello, good morning, good evening, and welcome to Big World Cinema. Without further ado, we'll continue with what you're here for. So you ask a Filipina out on a date. Now, one of 20 scenarios could play out between now and the hour of your date when you're finally sitting cozy in your favourite carinderia and you actually find you're not alone with her, as a combination of sisters, cousins, friends and neighbours have all been enlisted to infiltrate your intimate liaison. And during the course of your date, you've got no idea how things are going to pan out with her. Whether you'll be going home together to swing merrily from the chandeliers, or going home alone to play a 5-knuckle shuffle on your faithful banjo. Don't get me wrong, in the past, in my early years in the Philippines, in days of COVID, after a night out with a Filipina, I'd generally be guaranteed some bedroom action. But since the doors of the country opened after the COVID close season, these times they are a-changing, and there's no guarantee once they've stuffed their petite bodies with extra rice, they'll keep to their end of the deal, so to speak. Especially with Filipinas who nowadays rate themselves on the higher end of the food chain. Many guys here will boast that for them it's plain sailing all the way. Now, I've had my fair share of the spoils over the years. Some nights my boats cruised comfortably home, but I'm not gonna lie, on other nights I've had no such luck and hit stony ground. So I tell these tales in order for guys who are coming here, or those that are already in the Philippines, to give the heads up to what goes on whilst arranging or going on dates with Filipinas nowadays. I've told this story before, so I'll keep it brief. It was my first Tinder date in the Philippines. We met at SM Seaside in Cebu City. Her Tinder profile photos were amazing, naturally, with a bikini body to have grown men from the UK go weak at the knees. So I couldn't believe she'd match with me, let alone bother to turn up. We met on the roof terrace at SM Seaside. As soon as we met up, she looked like she didn't want to be with me. In fact, as she approached me, she barely paused to acknowledge me, and without missing a stride, continued walking towards the food stand area. The beauty's skin was much more spotty in the flesh, and without her bikini body exposed, I barely recognised her. Whilst waiting for the food to arrive, she hid behind her phone, feigning shyness. I don't remember much about the conversation, if there was any. Certainly didn't give me an indication that she liked me, or any hope for anything to occur between us. Once she'd been fed, she fled. Gone in 60 minutes. By the way, those food stands on the roof terrace at SM Seaside don't exist anymore. Maybe too many foreigners jumped off the rooftop after a disastrous date. Since that torrid Tinder tale, I've been wary of hungry Filipina opportunists ever since, and a little wiser to their Filipina trickery. I was in Duma Regretti at the tail end of last year, had arranged an evening with my mate John from the UK, July, his Filipina girlfriend, plus her 21-year-old college friend who'd been scouted to be my date for the night. Kind of intriguing how that conversation went.
Here, Cheryl, you free tonight? Maybe. Why, what's occurring? This old vlogger's in town. Needs a date. Do I need to shag him? Nah, not if you don't wanna. Great, I'm up for some free grub. I ain't eaten for an hour.
I was already seated at a table outside Why Not restaurant when the three of them turned up. My date sat down across from me and immediately looked down at her phone, which I immediately took from her. Pah! Bloody kids today with their atrocious table manners. I managed to get 10 minutes of conversation from her before she reverted back to her phone for the course of the meal. I didn't even bother arguing. She had little to say for herself anyway. When the bill for 2,400 pesos arrived, John and I paid half each. Now, commenters have said in the past how tight I am treating a girl to dinner. Actually, that's not technically true. I don't mind treating a girl to dinner if I get thanked for it, but this girl didn't even utter a word of thanks after stuffing her face. It's also the expectation. Your date turns up with a friend, and you're expected to pay for the friend too. It's not about the money, honey. It's a matter of principle and good manners, which are often forgotten where poverty is concerned. John, July and myself were planning to go to Sikihor Island, with July's friends expressing interest in joining us, and if she did, I'd need to pay for her. After the meal, we had drinks in my hotel room. John and July left and her friend stayed on. God knows why, as she slept fully clothed on the bed, pushing me away and rejecting my advances in the night, before leaving early the following morning. But still expected me to take her to Sikihor later that day. Fuck that, I thought. Or not. I'm not splashing out on someone who only wants to put my food in her mouth. You may have watched my recent dating trilogy with the excitable Sienna. It was the same story with her. She may have given the impression that at times she was into me, but alas no, that was all for the camera. Filipinas are great actresses, love playing up to the camera. Off camera, there was no interest. On Christmas Eve, Sienna texted me saying, we should go celebrate. Now we all know what that means, don't we? I'm not going to waste my time and money with someone knowing she's not really into me and only with me for my bulging wallet, no matter how much fun I'm having with them. So I declined her kind invitation. Next. More recently, I matched with a girl going by the name of Secret Kim on OkCupid, hoping that Secret Kim wasn't related to a North Korean dictator. Now, whenever I match with Filipinas on OkCupid now and they direct me to their Telegram profile, I fear the worst, that within a couple of clicks I'd have been offered to avail of her spicy content. But whilst waiting for the bomb to drop with Secret Kim, we exchanged a couple of mind-numbing messages asking how each other was, before I asked her what her plans were that day. Well, Secret Kim must have been busy as she didn't respond for 18 hours, which was now the following morning. She asked what I was doing, which is a pretty common question that Filipinas will ask you 10 times a day. So get used to it. I'm sitting by the pool, I said, sending her a photoshopped photo from a few days earlier that I perfected nicely. Pah, if Filipinas can send perfectly prepared photographs without a hair out of place, why can't I? Oh, hang on a minute. Handsome, replied Secret Kim. Thank you, pretty lady. BTW, I'm free, RN. RN being the abbreviation for right now. Oh gosh, it frustrates me how the modern youth can't be bothered to type words out now, expecting us oldies to immediately know WTF they're going on about. You want to do something? I asked. Huh? I'm looking a date, says Secret Kim. Sure. What do you want to do? I respond. Which is a general response I use nowadays to check the lay of the land and see what's on a Filipina's mind, to see if Kim's intentions are pure and simple, or whether she wants to come over and jump my old bones. Maybe explore or eat the outside, says Secret Kim. Now, most of you are probably aware the majority of Filipinos speak English, but what many of you don't know is that the level of many Filipinos' English is not great. I know, I'm a fine one to speak. My Tagalog is indeed pants, but I'm purely transcribing what Filipinos say, parrot fashion. So when Secret Kim says the words, eat the outside, we have to decode what she's trying to say. Secret Kim follows this up with, you are content creator. Now, I never offer this information to a lady for fear it may come back and bite me, but Secret Kim has delved into my Telegram profile and found said information. Damn it. So now Secret Kim has put me on the spot, is making me decide what we should do together. Oh gosh. Yes, sounds like a good idea, I respond, trying to stall her. So, responds Secret Kim, expecting a suggestion now. I'm near BGC. Where are you? I say. I'm from Caloocan. So, do you want to explore to the BGC and eat and bonding the outside? Says Secret Kim. Secret Kim's messages were kind of weird, quite robotic, as if not typed by a Filipina, devoid of question marks, although that's not uncommon with Filipinas. I'd already planned to go to lunch with my Spanish mate Victor and didn't really want to cancel him for a robotic Filipina who may or not turn up. So I told her we could meet later that afternoon. Okay, what time you think? Question mark. Gosh, almost a proper sentence. Exact, adds Secret Kim. Ha! I didn't realise Filipinas knew the word exact, let alone the meaning of it. 2 p.m? Is that good? Okay, update me, but I hope you sure. In other words, don't say you're going to meet me and ghost me, otherwise I'll offer my free time to another guy. I'm sure. Don't worry, I said. Okay, baby, take your time, chat me. Oh dear, when Filipinas start referring to you in their first messages as baby, honey, darling, it's the sort of dialogue used by the, how shall I say, sleazier slice of Filipinas. Whilst dining with Victor, I sent Secret Kim a photo of myself and Victor lunching at a Pakistani diner in Makati. Wow, nice. Going to prepared now, responded Secret Kim. What time you book me a grab? 1:30, I responded. What's your address? Okay, wait. Hey, book me. I'm ready now. I need your address, I said again, knowing that I couldn't book Secret Kim a taxi, not knowing where to pick her up from. Now, booking her a taxi had not been discussed between us, but it's another thing that's sort of expected now when you ask a Filipina out on a date. Did I ask her out on a date? I've forgotten now. Anyway, Secret Kim wasn't exactly catching a bus or jeepney from just down the road. She was coming from afar. A month earlier, I'd experienced the same thing with a date who was coming to my hotel in Guadalupe from Cavite, who said, "You can book me a grab," which I'd done. Well, Technically, that wasn't true. I discovered InDrive, a new taxi service operating in Manila and Cebu, whereby you enter your journey into the app and a number of drivers all compete for your services, and you choose the one that you want. Which in theory is cheaper than using Grab app. So, Secret Kim sent me her address, and as I was checking the fare from a 7-Eleven in Caloocan, where she was currently prowling, Secret Kim sent me a pic of the rear shot of a Filipina walking around the very same 7-Eleven. "I'm with my friend, babe. You done?" "Hey, babe." "Your friend is joining us?" I responded.
"Yes, babe."
"On our date together?"
"Yes, babe. And she's want join to bonding."
Whatever that means. So if you like what you're seeing here, hello, and want to stay connected with life in the Philippines, I think you need to subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you. The cab fare from Caloocan to BGC was 1,100 pesos, which would be 2,200 pesos there and back, just over $38, which quickly put me off the idea of paying for Secret Kim to travel to BGC with their friend without a face and buy them lunch. If it's one thing that's going to put me off a woman and her friend, is the expectancy for me to fork out more than a tenner. You have been warned.
"I'm waiting for you to book," messaged Secret Kim.
"Yeah, too expensive, not going to happen."
"Where are we going to eat?"
she asks. "We're not."
"What are we going to do?"
"Jollibee," I respond.
"Jollibee only?"
"What's wrong with Jollibee?" I ask, tongue firmly in cheek.
"How's the transpo? I don't have money."
Secret Kim didn't appear to be getting the message. 2,200 pesos round trip is a little expensive, I said.
"WDYM, I'll meet you, but you have to pay the transpo."
"I know, cost is 2,200 pesos.
"Yeah,"
adds Secret Kim. And that was it. End of story. Now, before you say Secret Kim was probably going to get the cab to drop her somewhere else and not meet up with me, she couldn't because I'd needed to pay the driver cash when they arrived. So there you go. So I wonder if Secret Kim and her army of foot soldiers actually arrived in BGC that day. Her off? Secret Kim's an attractive girl, no doubt. There's guys living here who'd have accepted her mission and wouldn't think twice about forking out $38 for two pretty Filipinas to come and meet them. Plus splash out even more on a meal that isn't Jollibee, which the majority of Filipinas you meet on dating sites would be very content dining at. Sweet spaghetti and all. The elderly foreigner might even strike lucky with Secret Kim, although that would have cost them considerably more, no doubt, nowadays. I wasn't going to go down that route. Sorry, I mean route. Damn Yankee autocorrect. I'm not one for forking out for meals for a Filipina and her mate just to try and get into one of their panties. I have history with that. Whilst travelling around Mindanao in June last year, I met two girls online living in Ozamis City, who were both extremely annoying, pushy scam artists. The first one, Jenny, was a single mother in her early 20s, said she couldn't meet me that day, and sent me photographs of what looked like insect bites on her body. Then asked for load for her phone so we could video call, which I ignored. The following day, Jenny asked if she could bring a friend with her to dine with us at my hotel, the Royal Garden, which then increased to 2 friends. Told her I'm not buying food for everyone, I'm not a cash point machine, and agreed to pay for Jenny and 1 friend. In the evening, Jenny arrived at the hotel with just 1 friend. The third girl, whose meal I said I wasn't going to pay for had dropped out, strangely. Jenny sat next to me with her assets on display. The meal was awkward. Jenny's table manners were sloppy and her English was limited. It was actually fortunate that her mate was with us, who spoke decent English. Most of my conversation, however, was directed towards Jenny's assets, with Jenny saying she'd come back to see me alone at the hotel the following day. After the meal, when they both left, both Filipinas thanked me for the meal, which was a first. As soon as she was home, however, Jenny started hounding me for money for medication for fever and her allergies, which continued into the following day. That evening, when I asked if she was coming over, Jenny didn't respond. I left Osmo City the following day, but Jenny continued messaging me, which I ignored. So a week later, she sent me a message from a different WhatsApp number, calling herself Marie, and asking for money to buy vegetables and rice and load, and she'd send me some photographs of her naked. No thanks, Jenny, Marie. Just a quick reminder to please click the thumbs up button if you liked the video, or thumbs down button if you didn't. Obviously. Thank you. The other Osmo's date was with Ricky, who was an even worse scammer than Jenny. Naturally, I'd been suckered in by the images Ricky had posted online, which bore little similarity to when she presented herself in the flesh. Filipinas are masters, or mistresses at that. Many lack educational knowledge, but their Photoshop skills and forgetfulness to how long in the past a photograph was taken is second to none. You may have seen the video I published of my date with Ricky, the Filipina who'd slept in a cemetery for a lot of her life. She was in her early 20s, large breasts, a single mother. Oh, hang on. Not both of them, surely not. Let me just check my little black book. Yes, both single mums. Wow, who'd have thought that? On the day, people referred to Ricky as Crystal. Crystal?
Na, 30. Mananay ng nako na.
Crystal?
Yes.
So I presume Ricky was her stage name. And throughout the day, she was on a continual quest to extract money from me, which I didn't divulge in the actual video. I spent 1,000 pesos for 2 scooter drivers, which Ricky arranged, having forgotten she could actually drive a scooter, and we could have just hired a motorbike ourselves. 1,000 pesos for lunch for 4 of us, 500 pesos for our admission fees. Now this may all sound like I'm whinging and peanuts to spend on a date with a Filipina and her extended family, but by midday, having already forked out 3,000 pesos, which normally lasts me a week at least, and with Ricky or Crystal continually on my case every 15 seconds asking for handouts, I was getting pretty wound up. Having already, the day before, she'd taken me up the mountain, so to speak, given her 500 pesos towards her rent. I know, I'm a bit of a soft touch. Or assumed that 500 pesos might get me one hand closer to her memories.
Go to that mountain. Oh, 200, galitanan.
It's just money. I just feel like I'm just paying out all day. I'm just paying. That's just all I'm doing all day. Throughout the day, I obviously hid my frustrations well, as viewers of the video thought what a lovely couple we made. In the evening, Ricky or Crystal said she'd come to my hotel room and see me. So I'd splashed out, been to the wine store for a couple of litres of Red Horse. I know how to treat a lady. Plus, I'd arranged with the restaurant downstairs to bring food and ice up to my room. The Royal Garden is a lovely hotel, probably one of the best I stayed at in Mindanao. There was no way any of these girls could have stayed there unless they were meeting a foreigner. But when Ricky or Crystal, I'm not sure which, walked into my room, she said, "Oh, the room looks familiar," having earlier said she'd never met a foreigner before in Osamis, but perhaps she was referring to her pseudonym. Ricky appeared agitated. As I said, Filipinas are great actors. Said she couldn't stay with me as her son was outside with her neighbour, who'd only agreed to look after him if I bought the phone that the neighbour had loaned her throughout the day to continue messaging me. I declined and drank the 2 litres of Red Horse myself, plus extra rice. Ricky, or Crystal, was a proper professional scammer. So yeah, no knee trembling occurred with either Jenny, Ricky or Crystal. Unfortunately, no opportunity of a threesome or foursome at all. Now look, many of you guys will be happy with that, happy with a Filipina's company, content to watch her stuff her face with one greasy palm as she scrolls on her smartphone with her free hand and then naffs off on a jeepney at the end of the night, having requested money for a taxi. And if just going for a meal is the only thing on the menu that day or night, then so be it. But if on a day of Filipinas showering you with fake affection is only attracted to you by the bulge of your wallet and has no intention of getting jiggy, call me old-fashioned, but it's time to cut and run. Find someone else. And that's the beauty about living in the Philippines. There's never a shortage of Filipinas here waiting to play Let's Fleece the Foreigner. But there's also an abundance of Filipinas who will go the distance. There's just no certainty how the evening's gonna pan out. Unless they make it blinking obvious, of course. Happy dating, comrades. See you on the next video. You've been watching Uncle, the man from Bigg World Cinema. Please like, subscribe and share with your friends.